Um, Hi, we finally welcome Sourabh Biswas from the Indian Institute of Science, Education and Research, uh, Kolkata, India, who is going to present a few tests of the results. Dispersion hypothesis in urban uh, carnivore. So I will start playing the pre-recorded video, and we will have Surab again answer your question.
Hello all, this is Sourabh from Dog Lab ISA Kolkata, India. Today we'll be talking about a field test of the resource dispersion hypothesis in urban carnivore. Well, let's discuss about the relationship or association between the resource dispersion and the territorial dynamics. Before we go into the resource dispersion hypothesis, let's discuss about what is territory. So before we go into territory, we need to know the term called the home range. So the home range is an area that has been covered by the individual or the individuals during their daily activities like searching for food, searching for mate, or to choose a shelter. But inside this home range, there is a particular area which is heavily defended by these individuals or the individual, which we call the territory. So now it's about the resource dispersion hypothesis. So resource dispersion hypothesis predicts or provides us a valuable framework for understanding how resource is actually distributed or influence the formation of animal group. So let's say here for a predator, which is wolf, the prey here is uniformly distributed or homogeneously distributed. Whereas in the slide of your right, while this other patch, which is the resources are patchily distributed and heterogeneous in nature. So here you say for this prey, which is heterogeneous and patchy in nature, so inside the territory of this, let's say, a resident of these two wolves, and the prey or the resources are more than enough for this resident wolves. So in that scenario, they won't mind or rather accommodate another individual inside their territory to explore the resources, and this will form a group, and this will help to maintain the territory and defend it in a better way. So we can say that the social group formation is not directed by the kinship, or we can say rather it's by the distribution of the resources. Well, so there are some key predictions of ratio dispersion hypothesis or RDH. Let's discuss about this. So how the group size is determined by different factors. So group size is proportional to the resource patchiness. So in a particular territory, the number of resource patch increases, the group size also increases. But the group size is independent of territory size. Then what about the territory size? So territory size is proportional to the dispersion of the resources. I mean the dispersion of the resources, I mean here the distance between the each resource patch. So the distance between the each resource patch increase, the territory size also increase. This is also proportional to the resource heterogeneity. So the number of different resources inside the territory size also increase. So during this inception of this this resource dispersion hypothesis by McDonald in 1893, in last 14 years, and more than 14 years, several species have been tested for RDH, which involves like the canids, felids, some of the mammals, as well as birds. But we don't know about this model system, this free-ranging dogs. So what are free-ranging dogs? So free-ranging dogs are very different from the pet dogs, which is very prevalent in this developed countries. But in this developing countries, mostly in the global south, we see dogs which are free-ranging, which are not directly under human supervision for food and shelter. They have their own group, and they also retain some of their ancestral characters like the wolves. So they are domesticated from the woods, and they retain some of their characters, like they live in groups, they live in packs, or they show same-working behaviors, they are territorial. So there are some ancestral behaviors are retained of their woods. So with we have done this study in this West Bengal, the state of West Bengal in India, in different and it's spread out in different districts, mostly in the southern Bengal of West Bengal. We've done two different type of work here. First one is a census-based work, where we have covered 52 different rural sites and 41 urban sites. And the study was done from 2020 to 2023. We have also done a territory-based, which is the observation-based study, where we try to understand the relationship between territory and the distribution of the resources. So here we have done a long-term observation on 36 dog groups in mostly in the urban habitats. Well, so let's discuss about the census-based study, how we have done it. So let's discuss about the method. Well, so how we have done the dog census methodology. We have used the spot census technique, where an observer cover a particular study area by foot in all the accessible roads and note down the number of dogs and the different parameters of the dogs they encounter through this path. We have chosen the particular time, which is 1600 to 1800 hours, which is the most active time for the free ranging dogs. And the observer also noted down the age class of these with the dogs, whether there is adult, juveniles, or pup. And they also noted down their genders, so the male or female, and also note down the group status, whether they are found in groups or in solitary condition. And also, to avoid the resampling, we have covered single road only once. We have also done the food sources. We have also done the census for the food source of the free ranging dogs. So inside a certain areas, we have noted down the different resources which were accessible for the dogs to eat. So which is are like mostly the grocery or the sweet shops. It can be the open eateries or the restaurants. Sometimes we also noted down the direct human feeding. There are also household dustbin, there's the garbage dumps, meat or fish shop inside this particular study areas, or the tea shops or the temples from where the dogs get the food. So how we have done it? So we have randomly we purposefully drawn a polygon in Google My Maps, so that it covers the human settlement. And within this particular area, we have covered all the accessible roads and noted down the number of dogs as well as the number of resources present here. So here in this particular polygon, the red balloons represent the number of dogs or dog groups present in this particular locations, and the blue dots represent the resources present within this within this polygon. So within this particular polygon, the resources that are accessible to the dogs. And we have normalized these resources and we have normalized these resources by dividing the size of this polygon in hectare. So let's discuss about what we wanted to do, the objective section. So here we wanted to test whether the urban and rural differences in free ranging dogs density are driven by the variation in the resource available in this particular habitat or not. To do that, first we try to understand the dog and resource density across rural and urban sites. What we have seen that the dog density is significantly higher in the urban habitat compared to the rural habitat, so the rural sites. The same thing we also have seen the same trend in the resource density as well. So resource densities are also significantly higher in the urban habitat compared to the rural counterparts. So we can say that the dogs and the resource density is higher in the urban habitats. Then what about this relationship or association between the resource density or the dog density? So we have run a GLM and we got to understand that with the increase in the resources, the dog density also increases. So the resource density and the dog density is proportional to each other. Well, so that's what we got to understand from the census-based study. Then we have done the territory-based study as well. So where we have understood the relationship between territory size, group size, and the dispersion or the distribution of the resources. So here how we have done it. So first how we have defined the territories of a dog group. So here we mean the dog groups which has at least has 3 adult individuals. So we mostly have done the behavioral observations, detailed watching of the animal interactions over the time. We have done the AOSM scan following the Altman 1974, where we have done 5 minutes of AOS and 1 minute of scan. So in between, and these are randomly distributed. Each time slot was 3 years. We got 18 AOS and 18 scans, and each scan and AOS has are randomly distributed, and in between 2 minutes of gap. And in this behavioral observation, we have noted the aggressive interactions of the groups or the neighboring groups and to establish their territory, and also during that time if they are send marking, or during our behavioral observation time whether they are send marking or not, in which location they are send marking, in which area they are maintained or regularly patrolling. And also we have mapped all these locations in Google Maps, and then we have done this territory map. So this is a polygon in Google Maps. Here you can see these are 3 dog groups in Dashpur, Nadia, West Bengal, India. Here the blue dots represent the different resource points, and here we have also seen some of the territories also change over time. So let's say in this particular thing, so there's the green polygon was Kalimundi group for in the mating season, but in the post mating season the territory shrink. So the territories also change seasonally. They might change seasonally at some point. Well, so with that we um, come into our objective session, what we wanted to do. So here we try to test the resource dispersion hypothesis, whether do the territory size or group size increases with resource heterogeneity or patch richness and the resource dispersion. To do that, first we run a GLM to understand the factors that are influencing the dog group territory size. So here, so we will understand the impact of or association of group size, resource heterogeneity, patch richness, resource dispersion, and male-female ratio, how that is actually impacting the territory size. So here we will discuss about the factors that is influencing the dog group territory size. Here the territory size increases with the increase in the resource heterogeneity. Even the more the heterogeneous the resources inside the territory is also it will also increase. The similarity we also see in the patch richness. The more the patch inside the territory size will also increase. Similar trend is the dispersion of the resources. So the average distance between the each resource patch increases, the territory size will also increase. This similar trend will also be there where the increase in the male-female ratio. With the increase in the male, increase the territory size. But we didn't see any relationship between the dog group size and the territory size, which is independent of each other. Say that the territory size increases with resource heterogeneity, richness, dispersion, and with higher male-female ratios, which most of the RDH predictions are made here. So we have discussed about the territory size, right? So what about the group size? So we run again a runner JLM to understand the impact of resource heterogeneity, patch richness, dispersions, and male-female ratio on group size. So here we got to understand that group size is not being impacted by the resource heterogeneity, patch richness, dispersion of the resources, or by male-female ratio. We can say that the group size not influenced by the resource heterogeneity and richness, dispersion, or the higher male-female ratio. Well, to summarize, these are the summary of resource dispersion or the resource dispersion hypothesis, what we have tested in free-ranging dogs. These are the RD's prediction of territory size and group size, and what we got in free-ranging dogs. The territory size and group size are independent of each other. That is RD's prediction. Territory size is proportional to the resource increase in the resource patchiness. So territory size is also proportional with the dispersion of the resources, and territory size also increases with resource heterogeneity. But in case of group size, it doesn't is proportional to resource patchiness or the heterogeneity, which were the RDH predictions. Well, so what are the key findings? So from the census-based study, we got to understand that the cities are packed with both food and dogs. And can say the more resources means more dogs. And the territory is a study that tells us the territory is influenced by resources, where the resource heterogeneity, patch richness, dispersion of the resources, and the male-female ratio increase with the increase in the territory size. So this study has been archived and currently under review in Ecology and Evolution. You can scan to get a full view of this study, and please give it a read. Uh, and yes, this time to acknowledgement. I now want to thank my supervisor, Professor Anindita Bhatra, all the Bill Lab members and my co-authors for doing this wonderful study and make this study success. Thank you.
Thank you for such an interesting talk, Super. We are now waiting for the question, but I have some question for you at the moment.
Yeah, sure.
How does human-drive resource variation affect carnivore coexistence in the cities?
Well, so do you want it to mean like how human provisioning is impacting the territory size or something?
Yes.
Is it that way? Well, so human provisioning in the mention like thing is when we were noting down the different resources. So we have also gone through, the surveys of a human household inside the territory of a dog group, and we have got to understand how much food and in which frequency they usually provide the food to the dogs or not. So here and then we have given the score of each of these resources. Based on the availability as well as the quality or the caloric value of this food. So human provisioning was given a particular score, and that's how we get a certain score for a particular territory. So yes, human provisioning was also included inside the resources at some point, and they have also go door to door and number of human or number of houses that provide them food. Yes, we have take that into account. Yes.
I see. We have a question from David. How do local people react to the feral dogs? Are they seen as a nuisance or are they tolerated by the population?
Can you repeat the question, please?
How do local people react to the feral dogs? Are they seen as a nuisance or are they tolerated by the population?
Well, that's a very interesting question, in this particular scenario. The thing is, the kind of dog we work with, those are free ranging, and there is a basic difference between feral and the free ranging dogs. And the study area where we have done this work is mostly the free ranging dogs. We haven't have a prior observation on the feral dogs yet, but yes, there are a mixed reaction among people regarding the free ranging or maybe the feral dogs, because in case of feral dogs, we know that there was some problem with dog wildlife conflict as well as human conflict. So there definitely there's a problem for these feral dogs, because that's quite a problem for the wildlife at some point in the fringe of like wildlife sanctuaries or the forest. But if we talk about, so to the answer this particular question, there are agitations, so there are some problem with the feral dogs which have the conflict with the wildlife at some point. But if you say with the free ranging dogs, we have a very mixed reaction. Some people, and I think some people like dogs, some do not, but they're coexisting beautifully. That's what I can answer. I think I have been studying free ranging dogs for around 6 to 7 years, and yeah, they're coexisting quite nice.
Right, thank you. We have another question from Catherine. Thanks for the talk. Do you have any hypothesis why the male-female ratios is correlated with group territory size?
Yes, that's a very interesting question, Mr. I think, yeah, thank you for this particular question. Yes, so the increase in the males in the group. So I think in subsequent in my PhD thesis, I have also worked with territoriality. of and also looked into the territorial tendency or the territoriality across genders. And we have, got to know that the males are more territorial than the females. So that and that's quite published. If you could look into the papers and lab papers. So my prediction is that as the males are more territorial, so retaining the territory or maintaining the territory, having males in the territory is actually something is a kind of asset, or that's something you could say, like, as males are more territorial. So maybe that is something playing a key role in increasing or maintaining a territory. So that might be the territoriality of males. It's something I think playing a key role in the territory size.
Right. We have very interesting question from Tarun. Hey,
Mhm.
Saurabh, great talk. Since stray dog population in India is so large, even leading to controversial government interventions, can you talk a bit on how your research can translate to these issues?
Can you repeat the question actually?
Um,
That will be nice.
he mentioned that since stray dog population in India is so large, even
Mhm.
leading to controversial government interventions, right? Can you give a bit about how your research can translate to these kind of issues?
Yes, yes. Actually, to tell you, I think it's it's there is a I think it will be difficult to answer this question at some point because there are a lot of factors are coming that I mean responsible for that. I think yes, we have a vast population of stray dogs, or we can say the free ranging dogs in the Indian streets, and sometimes managing them. Yeah, yeah, I think that's going to be I think quite challenging because the ABC programs, sterilizations and vaccination is something, because we have a huge populations and the capacity of these corporations or the authorities is also limited. I think, but we're trying our best because in the different institute we are taking initiatives. And from our research, what I got to understand is that from my PhD and from our lab, I think we got to understand the secret lives of the free ranging dogs, why they are territorial, which place they try to rest, so and how. We also work on the cognition of these free ranging dogs. They're quite smart. So there are certain things I think from the outcomes of the lab, from the both the cognitive part, exploring the cognitive part of them, how they interact with the humans, whether which are the most maybe the flagging thing for territorial, conflict between human and dogs. And to believe me, like we have done, I think I have done 3 years of observation. I think I have observed them around more than 1,000 hours. And while I was doing AOC scan, I think around 3% of the time there was a direct contact with humans. So the conflict is pretty low at some point, but there are temporal variations, obviously. But if we, from our research, I think if you can understand the territory, like during the night time when the peoples are not in the streets, they become more territorial. Not directly provoking them, because they can also sense you, whether you are your friend or foe, and they're pretty smart. So they can assess whether you are a threat to them or you are not a threat to them, you want to pet them, or if you are fine. I think most of the things. So to give you an answer, I think definitely our lab, which is working mostly on behavioral ecology as well as the cognition of this particular uh, species, which is the free ranging dogs, mitigating can definitely help a lot of things, because recently there's a certain movements going on, because the Supreme Court of India has told to like to move the free ranging dogs from out of the streets, but that's going to impact at some point, because from our research we got to know that in this particular landscape, free ranging dogs are one of the key scavenger species. So if you can pull out this scavenger species, or without changing the whole scenario of this particular environment or the habitat, it's going to have an impact on the scavenging ecology, definitely, for sure. So yeah, to give you, I think I've broadened the answer, but yes, the kind of research we do is definitely going to help free-ranging dogs and to mitigate the conflict.
Right. Thank you. Maybe I have a very last question. maybe related to that point. So
Yes.
you mentioned about the high population of the free-ranging dogs. Is there any threshold that mention, oh, the population should not over this threshold, and then you need to control that population if it go over that line or something like that?
Yeah, yeah. So I think, can you just repeat the question?
Is there
Sorry,
is there
I just,
any guidelines from the government that the population of the free-ranging dogs should not go over a certain threshold?
well. So see, thing is, this overpopulation thing or whatever you say is a, I think, it's a very subjective word. You see, from the understanding of my free-ranging dog ecology, what I got to understand, the way they coexist with human, I think, and they are one of the best, able to or coexist with humans because they are emotionally attached with them. So as we are very much emotional attached with our pet dogs, so the free-ranging dogs are pretty much emotional attachment we have also from those local communities and all. So, in that particular context, I think, uh, sorry, I just got out of the question. So your question was,
Hmm.
uh,
Do you need
uh,
to control the population of the
yeah,
free-ranging
yeah.
dogs?
Oh, yeah. So controlling population because the thing is, uh, the human population is quite. I think from my observation is that where the humans are there, dogs are there. So, and also the dogs is also will increase with the increase in the human population as well. So if you want to control them, I think there are several things. ABC program is definitely is going to work at some point. I think, and sterilization is something definitely need to be implemented in a better way, and as well as proper waste management definitely because they're also helping in in this scavenging network that is we have also seen them. It's quite a key player in this scavenging network. So I think the ABC program sterilizations as well as better waste management is something I think is a key to uh, if you want to control this population. But I think still there's a carrying capacity thing we know in ecology, and I think we have never seen there's a one group pack because I have been observing the dogs in groups. So the group ranges in between 3 to 15. I have never seen a 30 groups is 30 number of dogs is actually moving together in a particular group. So they have a particular carrying capacity uh, and a particular range in this, and they also migrate in different places, or also
Mhm.
like immigration and immigration happens. So yes, I think
Okay.
does that answer your question?
Yeah, yeah, quite clear. Thank you.